There was some showmanship going on in the Oval Office on Friday, and I don't think it came from our side. It came from Vladimir Zelenskyy, and definitely their sides do apply. Look, Zelenskyy had one easy task. It was not going to be a rough day for him. Scott Jennings from CNN, the lone conservative, the lone voice in the wilderness over there, he broke it all down pretty magnificently.
He needs Zelenskyy to recognize the position that he's in.
Which to you is what?
We're their patron. We're their best hope for the killing to stop and for them to emerge from this sovereign and prosperous. And we're also their best hope as a business partner. I mean, all Zelenskyy had to do today was put on a tie, show up, smile, say thank you, sign the papers, and have lunch. That's it. And he couldn't do that. And this followed 10 days of being difficult in private and now one day of being stupid in public. This did not have to go down this way.
Okay.
And however you feel about why it started, why it's going on, who's right and who's wrong, we can help them in this and come out okay on the other side, and he's making it hard.
Gosh, that's great. And a lot of really smart takes on what happened Friday in the Oval Office. But, of course, Zelenskyy, being Zelenskyy, he didn't miss the chance to appear with Bret Baier on Fox News after this showdown in the Oval Office, and he refused to apologize to President Trump.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
No, I respect the president and I respect American people. And I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss out of media, with all respect to democracy and to a free media. But there are things where we have to understand the position of Ukraine and Ukrainians. And I think that is the most important thing. Yes, we are partners. We are very close partners. We have to be fair. We have to be very free.
It's real simple. He wants us to be partners, and as he said in other interviews, he wants us to be on Ukraine's side. Well, Trump's not going to pick a side. He's not going to take a side. That doesn't mean he's a Vladimir Putin stooge. It means he doesn't want to stupidly get us into World War III with Russia. And every time I come back to asking you, do you want us to go to war with Russia? The answer is a resounding no. When you put it in those terms, and that's a reasonable thing to ask. Do we want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine? Because Vladimir Zelenskyy doesn't think we're giving them enough of a security guarantee? Look, if we invest in your country with the mineral rights deal, there's an absolute implicit security guarantee. It's in our interests then to look out for you. But he wouldn't even do that. Well, let's check in with the Democrats. Let's see how they're handling this, because I think it's safe to say they're not handling it well. Public Exhibit A, longtime Democrat strategist James Carville.
Where Trump had red splotches on his hand, which I was told by any number of medical professionals that when you see that condition, the first thing that you suspect is syphilis. We know from any number of videos that his wife doesn't want to get in the same zip code as him. If you had a spouse that had syphilis, I'm not saying he does. I mean, let me be clear. I'm just asking questions. But what you saw is madness. And I don't mean madness like I'm mad at you, you mad at me, you didn't say this. I'm talking about madness like King George III kind of madness. And it could be a combination of being a fat slob, which of course he is. It could be that he can't sleep at night because his beached whale body can't allow the circulation it needs. I don't know. I'm not a sleep specialist or a medical doctor. But I think we should revisit the possibility of a syphilis diagnosis. But I don't think we can
turn it off.
discount
Turn it
the
off.
fact.
I can't do it anymore. I can't. The best part is when he said, "Now I'm not saying he's got syphilis. I'm just asking the question. I'm just asking. See those red splotches he got on his hands? He got syphilis. Now I'm not saying he's got. Look at here. I'm not saying he got syphilis. I'm just speculating. I'm asking the question. I'm just an investigative journalist." That's all right. If that doesn't put a smile on your face, this Lulu from Texas, this twit from Texas, Jasmine Crockett, boy, she's a piece of work. Like Christmas morning. I mean, she's the gift that keeps on giving.
So, unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
You know, there are people that would sell out their own mother to spend 5 minutes on national TV. I've seen it. It's a phenomenon. And being on TV is kind of an aphrodisiac. I get it. They put that dummy on TV, any left-leaning network, she's got an open invitation. Now, there are smart people who don't get a platform, but Jasmine Crockett is like a regular on MSNBC and CNN. Oh boy, we are in for a ride, aren't we? Welcome in. It's Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We're in the Relief Factor studios. It's day one of our Food for the Poor campaign, and I have high hopes that we're going to knock it out of the park this year. Early on, I want to front load it all. I'll give you those details in just a moment. Our number is 800-655-MIKE. Great text message on the MyPillow text line from California, from San Diego. Aside from their Trump derangement syndrome, how come no one has bothered to ask the Democrats and the mainstream media one simple question? After 3 years, hundreds of billions of our dollars spent by Biden, and tens of thousands of casualties on both sides, what is their plan to end the war? That's a good question. What's their plan is the first thing I'd ask. The second part, do you want to go to war with Russia? I want to go back to this Jasmine Crockett. I get that there's a lot of political back and forth, and people are upset, and you either love Trump or you hate him. Incidentally, there's no in between anymore. There's just none. There's none. Nobody's neutral on Donald Trump. You don't meet anybody who's sort of ambiguous about the commander-in-chief. And a lot of us are real grateful for his leadership. We're off to a roaring start. The golden age, the golden era is upon us. But of course, there are plenty of critics. Now, there's criticism, and then there's what Jasmine Crockett said. And I want to open up my phone lines. Teresa, I want a reaction to this question. First of all, let me play this Congresswoman from North Texas, Representative Jasmine Crockett. This is what she said on MSNBC this morning.
So, unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House. And as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
Now, I've got a real simple question for you, and I'm not trying to be a provocateur. I'm asking this from the heart, and I mean this sincerely. How does she get away with that? How does a member of Congress get to brand the President of the United States an enemy of the state? How do you get away with that? How can there be no consequences for her? Obviously, she's continuing to put Trump's life in jeopardy. They tried to kill him on at least 2 occasions. And I know that we probably shouldn't give this crackpot congresswoman much airtime. But look, they obviously love her in the mainstream media. She's clearly engaging people. You just heard a member of the United States Congress call the President of the United States an enemy of this country. What do you do with that? And I don't mean that rhetorically. How does she get away with that? Should she? Do you find that kind of reprehensible speech under the guise of the First Amendment? Do you think she gets blanket protection for calling President Trump an enemy of the state on national television? Should there be no consequences?
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.